Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings-Danny SportsWrap. It's brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling, and I broadcast today from one of the several bedrooms that I inhabited at my house at 11 Brookvale Road, Framingham, Massachusetts, on an emotional weekend for me and the rest of my family, actually, most of whom I saw this weekend as we completed the process of taking everything out of the house here and moving my mother to her new, very nice residence and her retirement residence. Visited my dad, all kinds of different things that happened this weekend, and it was really, really emotional, and it certainly fit in with the tenor of what went on this weekend, as there were emotional things across the board in the world of sports. And yes, indeed, Phil Mickelson made me look silly because on Friday I unequivocally stated there was no way that he could win the PGA Championship, and darned if he didn't go out and do it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about my weekend here, if you indulge me a little bit in that, as it's a very emotional time for all of us here, and we get to hang around in family and kind of bond and say goodbye to the house that has been the Clinkscale home for, well, over 50 years, and we said goodbye to it this weekend, and we're still saying goodbye to it, and I am standing in what was my bedroom for much of my time when I was a childhood, and it has been an emotional time, but as I said, it fits in with how sports are going, and we'll check all of it out, and it comes your way next on Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Go see Jeff and his fine crew, who always treat you like family and does great quality work to keep you warm and cool.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
The bitter cold snap in February was just another intense reminder of how important it is to have a quality heating and cooling company on your side. That's why you need to know about my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Jeff Dillon and his top-quality staff provide honest, affordable, and reliable service all year long. Their number one priority is taking care of the customer and focus on being genuine, always following through and standing behind what they say and do. If you need HVAC or AC repair, it's important you get help from a team of professionals. Dillon's Heating and Cooling's team can walk you through a range of products, the advantages of heating and cooling systems, and ultimately help you find the best HVAC system for you. They're always glad to answer your questions and set up an appointment for an installation consultation. Whether you're looking to upgrade to a newer model of your current system or need one installed in a new home, give my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling a call today at 913-214-0529. That's 913-214-0529, or visit dillonsheatingandcooling.com to answer all of your questions. Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Their slogan is their goal, always treating you like family. I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors, offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from WrecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit RecExpert.com and learn more. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyClinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, and what a scene yesterday at Kiowa Island, South Carolina, as Phil Mickelson became the oldest player to win the PGA Championship, or any major championship for that matter, as he won his sixth major championship. Only 14 players have done that now. We'll get into that, and we'll hear from Phil in just a little bit. But now, for a moment, I am standing in one of, several bedrooms that I inhabited through the years in my family home in Framingham, Massachusetts. My parents bought this home in 1964, right after my father got his first big television job, and they bought a new big station wagon and a new family home, all within just a few days, as a matter of fact. Back then, they bought the house for $23,000 in 1964, and it was recently sold for $610,000 here in Framingham, Massachusetts. Now, don't get me wrong, if this home were in the Kansas City home market, I would imagine it might go for $300,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It's just a reflection of where the housing market is in certain parts of the country. When my daughter, who lives in California, saw the pictures of the home listed on the real estate site, she lives in the San Francisco area, she said, well, that'd probably go for $1 million out there. So it's all in your perspective. But this particular room I'm in right now was my bedroom for a long time when I was a little kid, and then various other places throughout the house have at times been the place where I rested my head when I came back from college and transitioned into times as an adult. Sometimes there was a bedroom set up down in the basement, and I would rest my weary head down there, and sometimes when I came to visit, there was just no place else in what was always a very busy household with relatives coming and going, and people sometimes spending months or a year and a half living here as adults, and maybe the couch would be your home then. But it certainly has been a bit of a melancholy weekend. My wife's been a little bit of ill health, but it has improved drastically recently to the point where I knew I could come out before my mother left. Actually, initially, when my sister suggested that I come out to May 22nd, this weekend, the weekend of May 22nd, was supposed to be a time when the house was still sort of the way it would be portrayed for the people who were going to buy it, but the process accelerated so fast that now it's sort of an empty shell of a home. And in fact, the bed that I'm sleeping in this weekend is the only bed that is still standing in the entire house. My mother is already sleeping in the new place that she will be going into that I visited the other day. Very nice facility. As I mentioned, I did get to visit with my dad, which I haven't in a while, and he comes and goes as far as knowing who you are. He did recognize me, but some other people who he has seen less frequently through the years, like my sister's husband, he doesn't recognize. He's still alert and relatively frisky, but it's one of those situations that I'm sure many, many people can identify with as life goes on, life changes. My parents are both in their late 80s, and they are my mom's still in tremendously good health and sound mind, and my dad for about 85 years was in that particular situation, but no longer, and we're slowly saying goodbye to him. So many of the family members and some people who have been important people in our lives through the year, good friends of my mother, and the mother of a young boy that she really helped raise when the lady was a single mother and a very astute businesswoman as well. He's really considered almost one of the Clinkscale children, the seventh one, and he was around with his new baby, as a matter of fact. So it was a time of storytelling and reminiscing about this particular home. And when the Clinkscales get together and start telling stories, believe me, it's a crazy event, and you won't even really hear me speaking that much if I were to have run a tape recorder on that particular thing. We've got a voluble group, to say the least, and a little less so without my dad around to weave his stories that we've heard so many times. But it certainly was a very special weekend. I'm riding a bike around for exercise this weekend, so you can cover a whole lot of ground, and I get to go through neighborhoods that maybe an old friend lived in, maybe an old girlfriend lived in, places that you remember past the old pizza place that I used to frequent all the time in high school. And so just a time for reminiscing. And no, I don't think I'm going to be able to venture into the city except for flying in and out this time around. But still, I went to see my nephew play soccer on Sunday morning, and that was a long drive almost to New Hampshire, which nothing's really that long in New England. It was about an hour, but a beautiful drive down mostly down through the country roads that are enveloped in trees. And when you live here, you probably don't appreciate it that much because you see it all the time. But when I come back, I really relish it, sending pictures to my wife and things like that. So all kinds of wonderful things to experience this weekend on what certainly was a very crazy weekend of sports, too. So thank you for indulging me in some of those memories. Let's move to what remarkably became the lead story of the sports weekend. Takes a lot for golf to take the headlines away from the NBA and NHL playoffs, and locally away from great performances by Sporting and the Kansas City Royals that we'll get into in a minute. But Phil Mickelson is one of the best players of his generation, and certainly now one of the best players of all time, and that standing only would have been far greater if he hadn't played in the era of Tiger Woods. But in a truly amazing performance by a player who hadn't had a top 10 finish in a major championship in the last 5 years, came out at age 50, and really very much deserved what he got as far as the championship was concerned. I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, going into the final round thought that Brooks Koepka would be too much, but his toughness and swagger were not enough for Phil. You need some breaks when you are going to win a championship, any major championship. And one of the things Phil Mickelson benefited from was that his two leading competitors, Louis Oosthuizen and Brooks Koepka, just couldn't putt very well on the weekend, or all tournament long, in fact, as Koepka was 61st in putting on the week, and Louis Oosthuizen was 36th in putting. Meanwhile, Phil was hitting it better than he has in a long time. He scrambled like he always does. He made some key putts, and he gritted it out when there were some tough times, no question. Crazy start to the final round with bogeys flying everywhere. Typical of a golf tournament, in the fact, especially a major tournament, that the leaders usually don't shoot the best scores of the day. The best scores of the day are shot by people who are out of contention and can freewheel, and we saw that. Actually, you saw basically the same score for all the three contenders. It's not as if Phil went out and lit it up and won. He was 1 over par, and Brooks Koepka was 1 over par, and Louis Oosthuizen was 1 over par. But Phil started with the lead and made it happen, made it work, and certainly it was incredibly emotional. And the scene at the end when he had to fight his way through the crowd was certainly one for the ages, and he had a lot to chew on and talk about afterwards.
It's been an incredible day, and I have not let myself kind of think about the results until now. Now that it's over, I've tried to stay more in the present and the shot at hand, not jump ahead and race. I've tried to really shut my mind to a lot of stuff that was going on around, like I wasn't watching TV, I wasn't getting on my phone. I was just trying to quiet things down because I'll get my thoughts racing, and I really just tried to stay calm. And I believed for a long time that I could play at this level again. I didn't see why I couldn't, but I wasn't executing the way I believed I could. And with the help of a lot of people, my wife especially, but Andrew Getson and my brother Tim and Steve Loy, I've been able to make progress and then have this week. So it's very exciting because I've had a few breakthroughs on being able to stay more present, be able to stay more focused, and physically I'm striking it and playing as well as I ever have, but I haven't been able to see that clear picture. So although I believed it until I actually did it, there was there was a lot of doubt, I'm sure.
Phil, over the last several years, as the age crept up, you never really let that get in the way. You always downplayed it, actually tried to dismiss it probably. How did you do that? I mean, certainly you know the history, that it doesn't work out as much at this point. What did you do?
Worked harder is the deal. I just had to work harder physically to be able to practice as long as I wanted to. And I've had to work a lot harder to be able to maintain focus throughout a round. That's been the biggest challenge of late. And my desire to play is the same. Like I've never been driven by exterior things. I've always been, intrinsically motivated because I love to compete. I love playing the game. I love having opportunities to play against the best at the highest level. And so that's what drives me. And I think that's what has the belief that I could still do it inspired me to work harder. And I just didn't see why it couldn't be done. It just took a little bit more effort. It's certainly one of the moments I'll cherish my entire life. And I don't know how to describe the feeling of excitement and fulfillment and accomplishment to do something when at this magnitude, when very few people thought that I could. But the people that believed in me, my wife, Amy, and Tim and Andrew Getson and Coach, those people that continue to inspire me and get the best out of me.
That was indeed amazing, and certainly there are lots of other things going on in the world of sports, including we had a little bit of golf here, as a matter of fact. The Korn Ferry Tour event, the Advent Healthcare Championship in Kansas City, wasn't blessed with being up against the PGA Championship, nor the weather, but still it was an exciting tournament, and one Cameron Young was able to win, and there's great stories in golf all the time. That player had no status on any tour as of a year ago. Monday qualified his way into some success enough so that he got to play the Korn Ferry Tour. Now he wins, and it's very likely that he will be on the PGA Tour next year. Those type of stories happen all the time in the world of golf. Is it as a big story as Phil? Of course it isn't, but it's every bit as big to him. And another sort of Cinderella tale that you see all the time in the world of golf, none bigger than what Phil Mickelson did at Kiowa Island on Sunday afternoon. Lots more good stuff to talk about as the Royals walk it off yesterday in emotional fashion after a dud of a day, pretty much, sporting Kansas City with a dominant performance. That coming your way next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
We're here with Michael Barber, the CEO and founder of Microlight Corporation of America, the world leaders in laser therapy. And Michael, tell us a little bit about your product.
Our device is using a particular wavelength and power to reduce pain and swelling. My background is surgical lasers, but I've been involved with this particular device now for about the last 20 years, actually.
And I know that it works because I've had it used on me as well. And tell us about the relationship you have with your company and Canaway.
It's what I call a strategic business relationship in that Canaway, the leader in the field of the cannabinoid systems and CBD oil, but our device used in conjunction with Canaway CBD oil gives a better pain relief outcome for the patient.
And if you want to get that pain relief outcome like I did, you can reach their local representative, Sherry McCants, at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312. We're here once again with Dr. Brad Woodle from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Springtime, good weather's finally here. People want to stay active, and it's your job to make sure that they can stay active, and be healthy.
Danny, we see a lot of not just weekend warriors, but people that every day are having that want to get back to activity. Whether you're starting with walking, jogging, or maybe that first 5K of the year, we want to help you out. We specialize in taking care of all ages, from kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, but absolutely specialize in getting you back to full function and keeping you in great shape.
So in short, how do we go about doing that?
The first thing is to schedule a consultation with one of our doctors and therapists so we can see how you move and how you're supposed to move. Based on our assessment, we can put together a short treatment plan and a set of goals to help you both feel better, function better, and most importantly, stay better for this year and many years to come.
Learn more at asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and it looked for a long time yesterday as if the Royals were going to suffer a disappointing weekend at the K, losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers, who, of course, recently swept the Royals. That's just not what you're supposed to do when you've refound your footing. But Carlos Santana saved the day with a 2-run walk-off homer after the Royals had done nothing on offense all day, and they get the win. They creep within a game of 500, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and why shouldn't they? They were bottomed out after 11 straight losses, and now they've won 6 of their last 9, and the Royals looking pretty sharp, getting reasonably good starting pitching most of the time, and then the heroics that Mike Matheny hopes keep creeping on day after day.
Right from the top, being down a little bit, and then the guys just kind of sticking with it. Chris Bubich, kind of a repeat of what we talked about yesterday, whether it was Brady or whether it was Josh, not with his best stuff. He didn't have his fastball command and had to figure out a way. And he even said when we talked to him after the game, you know what, I'd probably been out of that game in the third last year, wouldn't I? And I'm like, yeah, you know what you did, and is that progression of figuring out what he's got to do to get back in the bottom of the zone, which then makes his other pitches better, but then just survive and figured out he was jumping into the windup whenever he could do it. That was helping him get a better rhythm. I mean, just figuring out ways to keep us in the game. And next thing you know, he finishes 5 and hands it off. But, I've said it. I just love how these guys fight. And I love the way they continue to believe in themselves. But we need stuff like that to continue to happen. I know those are rare and special, and I love doing it in front of a fan base today. They were so into it. So it was an exciting win and a really good homestand for us. It's like all of us that are just fans of this team, fans of the game. You see people do special things. You just can't help but help but be proud for them and of them. And Mize was good today. I think each time we've seen him, he's making adjustments too. And as a young pitcher, he threw a good game. Didn't give us a lot. You could tell the guys were having trouble picking up the spin, and kept us off balance all day. But I love that message that we have, just keep going. And I'm hearing the guys saying it's not just us coaches yelling like idiots all the time. It's the guys that are buying into this of keep us there, something good's going to happen, keep us there. And then being wit, figuring out how to initiate. And Carlos is just a special player. And we're watching him, just like we've talked and celebrated Salvi so much. Carlos is one of those guys too. You want to see in those situations because they rise to those occasions. I think it really comes down to having some of that success early, and we try not to make too big of a deal about the importance early. But when you have some of those comebacks, and then you do well in those games that you can just stay alive in and stay close, and you have the kind of offense that can do some late damage. I think it's all of that combined, and we've brought in some really good players to add to a very good core that has kind of taken that step forward of get an idea what it looks like to be a winning team.
Well, they're not quite a winning team yet, but they're close to it, and they hit the road for a very important road trip. Tampa is playing good ball, and they're a good team, and you got to play them 3 times in a row, and then after an off day today, and then play against the Minnesota Twins, who you hope don't find their feet at home. So a big road trip to try and continue the little bit of momentum that the Royals have built back as far as this season is concerned. Yes, the Royals indeed part of a cool weekend of sports that was continued back on Saturday night. Sporting Kansas City really looks like a hot ticket in MLS right now. They registered another win. It came on the road. It came in impressive come-from-behind fashion. It came in a very exciting environment in San Jose, and a very exciting game that Sporting, I guess you would say, ending up with the 3-1 victory. You could say that they controlled it, but it certainly wasn't a completely dominating performance. San Jose had more shots, they had more crosses, they had more corners, and they had real patches of danger for Tim Melia, but it was Sporting that was capitalizing on those. And so Jalen Lindsey scoring his first ever goal, and Daniel Shalloway continuing his fine goal-scoring form as he gets a lot of opportunities these days, and when he cashes in 1 or 2 of them, it's a nice thing. He cashed 1 this time around, had some other great chances as well. He could really be a prolific scorer if he really gets that sniper aspect when he gets a great opportunity. It's close to always in the back of the net. That's not happening yet. But one person who was really taking care of his chances and providing them as well is Alan Pulido. Since he came to the league, and of course he's had his injury bouts, he is averaging .99 per game as far as goals plus primary assists, and he had 1 of each in this particular game. Sporting did rally from behind to get that 3-1 victory, and they are now climbing the ladder as far as MLS is concerned. Another big win for him, and as said, on the road. And it really was a time to celebrate for Sporting Kansas City, and they are going to be able to celebrate it in fine fashion because next time around that they play will be against Houston next Saturday, and it will be the first full-capacity game for Sporting Kansas City since last February, and I'm sure the atmosphere with this red-hot club will be something to behold at Children's Mercy Park. It sure was a pretty remarkable weekend, and I thank you for indulging me with some of the personal stuff, but all of it was really cool, and it's fun to bring it to you every Monday, presented by Dillon's Heating and Cooling. We got all kinds of good things during the week as usual. It's music podcast week on Wednesday, all that and the usual stuff that we bring to you both at DannyKlinkscale.com and patreon.com/DannyKlinkscale. You have a good week and spend part of it with me.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Dillon's Heating and Cooling, treating you like family with expert and affordable HVAC services.